This is PRIME7 Local News with Madeleine Collignon, Kenny Hinkley and meteorologist Carl Linders with your local weather. Now, PRIME7 Local News at 6.
Tonight, the horror of the Las Vegas shooting hits close to home.
Widespread rain eases the fire danger on the north coast for now.
Rural residents call for action as log trucks and school buses share one single windy road.
And remaining unsettled and warm for Wednesday. Your weather details coming up next.
Good evening. A popular Clarence Valley dance instructor has been caught up in the terror of the Las Vegas shooting.
Nicole Shipman's family were horrified to discover she was near the attack that has so far claimed 59 lives and injured more than 500. The Shipmans were holidaying in the US after leading her dance school in a performance at Disneyland.
The Coffs Clarence family of dance teacher Nicole Shipman has been glued to their screens. News of America's deadliest mass shooting taking a very personal turn. Jenny Shipman deeply relieved when it was finally confirmed her niece and her family were out of harm's way.
It'd be traumatic for anyone, just not for a family like that.
The Shipmans were heading towards the Las Vegas Strip. They're at the intersection where the gunman had just opened fire on 22,000 concert goers. In the chaos, they were told to get back to the Paris hotel where they were marshalled inside.
They were sort of taken in and they had to put their hands in the air, and that she felt that they were being treated like the criminals.
Nicole is holidaying in the US with her partner Kevin Comerford and her daughter Madeline, seen here standing next to her mum at the Grafton Estedford last year.
And Maddie was very frightened because she's only 14.
The family was held in the Paris Hotel conference room in lockdown until 1:20 a.m. Las Vegas time.
She's out of it now, isn't she? But it's just the trauma after, I suppose.
Nicole and her family flew out of Las Vegas this morning, headed for New York. She's expected to be back in the country within the week. Liz Penny, PRIME7 News.
There's been relief from the sky over the northern rivers, with the region recording its highest rainfall in several months. The moisture has eased fire conditions slightly, but authorities warn only a couple of hot days will turn things around.
In a part of the state which is used to the rain, it's been several months since this. The trough, which has brought relief to central Queensland, has done the same to the northern rivers. The more considerable falls since Sunday have been on the coast. Byron Bay saw the benefits of more than 60 millimetres. Down at Ballina, 56 mils soaked in. While it's put a dampener on the school holidays, the rain's also given a breather to fire crews at Casino.
We've had significant campaign fires across the landscape for the last 6 weeks, and what this will do is enable us to, give our resources a bit of a break, give our firefighters a chance to catch up.
No fire permits are being approved at the moment, despite the moisture dropping the fire danger to low to moderate. The RFS is not getting complacent, with serious concerns about what's to come once this system moves out.
This rain's only very light. We need substantial rainfall here to change the fire threat, and based on the current predictions, we're not going to get that. We might see some more rain in a week or two's time, but until we see substantial rainfall across the landscape, we're still treating it as a fairly high fire danger.
Over the weekend, some fires were illegally lit in anticipation of the rain. Zero tolerance now as the warmer months approach.
This by no means has eased the fire season in the northern part of the state. We've still got to get into summer, and we're not there. We're only in the early touches of spring.
Chris Wall has been out in the rain today, and Chris, conditions seem to have eased back this afternoon.
Yeah, Kenny, well, it was all brollies here this morning, but as you can see, the cloud which was associated with that trough has lifted this evening. Speaking to a livestock agent at Casino today, there's confidence that this week's falls will boost the farming sector, especially those who are looking to plant crops but have been holding off. Now, there are showers predicted for the rest of the week, but they get less likely as the days go by. It's been pretty mild up here so far, but that could change by Monday. The Bureau of Meteorology is predicting a top of 32 degrees for Lismore.
All right, mate, it's good that we're getting the rain at least. Chris Wall there in Lismore.
And further south, firefighters are celebrating the rain. There's been light rain for the past 24 hours across the Hastings region, and another 50 millimetres is expected in the next few days. It's hoped it will provide a much-needed reprieve for fireys who have been working for more than a month. A localised state of emergency remains in place for the region, with the fire activity expected to pick up again after this rain.
Residents travelling rural roads across the Hastings say they've been forgotten. They believe some of the rough stretches are accidents waiting to happen.
This is a log truck with a load of timber taking this bend just 3 weeks ago. And this is what this road looks like for a vehicle travelling up that hill.
Yeah, a fully laden log truck and another vehicle or a log truck, there's no vision.
There's just enough room for 2 small SUVs.
There's skid marks at all the corners. It's the same on the Wilson River Bridge, across the Clarefield Nungi Creek Road. Mate, the roads are atrocious.
There's been a number of times when the school bus and the log trucks are much too close, and that needs to stop.
Hayden Timbers employs more than 40 people from across the Port Macquarie Hastings region. Trucks use these roads constantly each day, and their workers travel to and from work.
Well, safety is number one, and we're very, very aware of the school buses, you know, with the children on it.
But their trucks and drivers can't do anything about the condition of local roads.
We have a real problem with the road. The road not being maintained enough, some bad corners.
There's also concerns about large trees very close to the edge of narrow roads. Today, Council said it's committed to ensuring safety and regular grading.
Well, Council has over 1,300 kilometres of sealed and unsealed roads to maintain and over 120 bridges. And Council is highly committed to road safety and road maintenance across the entire Council area that we look after.
Even though there's not a big population, rural lives do matter, and also, there's tourist potential and things like that.
Samantha Crowe, PRIME7 News.
A Taree man has been charged with armed robbery following an incident at a service station in South Taree this morning. Police allege the man entered the service station at around 4 a.m. this morning armed with a knife and demanded money from the cashier.
The console operator has then retreated into another room at the back of the service station. The offender has then gone to the cash register and removed the till. But before he has left the shop, police arrived and they arrested the offender at the scene.
The man appeared in Taree local court this afternoon.
A young woman missing from Ocean Shores has been found safe and well. A full-scale land and sea search for Selena Collinson was launched yesterday at a beach at New Brighton. She hadn't been seen since Saturday, with police holding concerns for her welfare. Fortunately, the 20-year-old was located by a family member just after 6 last night.
More than 1,200 people have been booked for speeding in northern New South Wales over the long weekend. Operation Slowdown started last Friday and finished at midnight last night.
Don't say you weren't warned. Police said they would be out in force this long weekend and they'd urged drivers to slow down. But still, 1,288 people were booked for speeding between Newcastle and Tweed. And again, young drivers were overrepresented.
People are still encouraged to slow down. There's quite a few have been detected at high speeds, and also the international tourists.
Not only are the offenders facing steep fines, but double demerit points were in place. Police also breath tested almost 25,000 people in the state's north, and 56 were charged with drink driving. Double demerit points have now ended, but there's another week of school holidays. And the roads are wet.
Because we haven't had rain for quite some time, the roads are quite often greasy in the wet, so motorists are encouraged to slow down in the wet and drive to the road conditions.
There were 58 major crashes between Newcastle and the Tweed, with 25 people injured. Fortunately, there were no fatal accidents on mid-north coast or north coast roads. On the whole, police were pleased with motorist behaviour, but there were exceptions. Yesterday morning at 1:30, police detected a black sedan travelling at 150 kilometres on the Pacific Highway at Nabiac. When they stopped the vehicle, behind the wheel was an 18-year-old P-plater. His licence was suspended on the spot. Statewide, more than 14,000 people received driving infringements, and 5 people died on New South Wales roads during Operation Slowdown. Christine Tondorf, PRIME7 News.
There's someone here who has been tracking the radars closely. It's meteorologist Carl Linders.
And Carl, most people saw some rain across the region today.
Very much so, Maddie, that's right. Over the last 24 hours, we've seen the heaviest of the rain up in that northern coast. We'll get there in a moment, but dry in the south. Foster at 22 degrees today. Showers and storms did develop in the inland this afternoon. Heaviest falls west of Bellingen at Barraville. 31 millimetres of rain. Overnight, 68 millimetres of rain fell at Mullumbimby, just inland there, and quite a few showers, as I said, stretching back towards the northern tablelands. Activity starting to die off now with the sun starting to set. They're losing the fuel of the day. We'll see the showers and storms over the next 24 hours just ease back slightly. We'll start to see them re-increase with another shortwave trough. Essentially, we're looking at temperatures remaining fairly static through the next 24 to 48 hours. So it's a welcome relief after some searing heat of September, guys. Looking at some showery and stormy skies for the rest of the week.
That was an interesting satellite. It looked like we were the only people that had any cloud at all.
Absolutely. It's nice to share it around with everybody else, but nice to have some back.
Thanks, mate. See you soon.
Still to come in Prime 7 News is the Northern Rivers preparing for another CSG battle.
And meet Billabong Zoo's newest residents just in time for the school holidays.
And at 6:30 tonight, America in shock after the country's deadliest shooting. The sniper's motives still unclear. End of the line, thousands of Toyota workers out of a job. And tributes flow for rock icon Tom Petty after his death at the age of 66. All those stories and the day's national news next.
Stay in touch 24/7 with Prime 7 News.
There's calls in the Northern Rivers for the federal and state governments to recommit to keeping the area free of coal seam gas production. It comes as member of the federal government flag using the GST as a way to pressure the states to end bans on gas exploration.
2015, and this was the cry in the Northern Rivers. 2 years on, and once again the region is refusing to rejoin the conversation around coal seam gas and the need for more projects to address the country's power shortage. It's been suggested the federal government could use the amount of GST allocated to the states as a way to pressure them into relaxing moratoriums or regulation on gas developments. Page MP Kevin Hogan is adamant the issue on the North Coast is dead.
That argument, that debate happened many years ago, and every level of government is really clear that coal seam gas, for what it is not suited to the Northern Rivers of New South Wales.
That's welcome news to those who fought long and hard to keep gas projects away.
Unconventional gas will never be extracted in the Northern Rivers. The community has made that abundantly clear to all levels of government. Now those levels of government need to respond equally to other communities who are saying exactly the same thing.
The government argues there could be some wriggle room in states which have total CSG bans.
Those states maybe need to look at, are there areas of their states where it is okay?
ELLY believes it's really the amount of gas which is leaving the country which needs to be looked at.
There's untold reservoirs of gas in our country and it's all being shipped overseas. So that's where the gas needs to come from, not from impacting our farmers and communities.
Chris Wall, Prime 7 News.
There's 3 new little faces at the Billabong Zoo. They've travelled all the way from Perth to be part of a Port Macquarie breeding program.
Taboo, Keto and Faraji have just arrived at the Billabong Zoo. They're out of quarantine and ready to show their adorable furry faces.
They came from a colony of 18 other meerkats. They're quite a big group, so I'm sure they're enjoying the sort of bachelor life since they've been here.
But they won't be batching it for long. These very eligible bachelors are expected to be part of the Billabong's first meerkat breeding program.
These 3 boys here, we're looking to acquire ourselves a female, a matriarch for their little group, and maybe even see about some breeding. So
the boys are just 9 years old, but if they follow in the footsteps of the Billabong's last pair, they should live a very long time.
Extraordinarily long life. In the meerkat world, you know, out in the wild, 5 to 7 years would be top end. In captivity, zoos do see their meerkats live 10, maybe 12 years. Our meerkats were 13.
At the moment, they're busy settling in, digging burrows and working out their work rosters. Meerkats do everything as a cooperative little community, and despite the fact they're usually found in Africa, they look pretty happy in their new Port Macquarie enclosure.
And these little boys are definitely ready for cuddles, so if you want to have your own special encounter, you can book in these school holidays.
Samantha Crow, Prime 7 News.
There are just 3 more sleeps until the Taree show. This weekend's event is one of the oldest on the coast. It started in 1878. Organisers who are already setting up have welcomed the rain, saying it's settled the dust. This year there will be the agricultural and trade exhibits with some new displays.
One of the main highlights, a new attraction, is the Noah's Racing Pigs, but we have a lot of other highlights which will be great family fun and family entertainment through the day.
The show gates open on Friday and close Sunday night.
Still to come in PRIME7 News, the Biripi Sharks make their mark at the Aboriginal League knockout.
And also still to come, a Coffs BMX champ bounces back from injury in fine form. BMX racing sensation Kai Reid has seen a return to form following injury back in Coffs Harbour after winning double titles at the BMX State Championships.
3 months ago, Kai Reid was recovering from his 4th fractured collarbone ahead of the Worlds. Finally back in peak condition for the state titles in Macarthur, big wind gusts making it difficult to stay on track.
Every straight was basically blowing a side wind, and there was only the one straight out of all 6 of them that had the wind behind us.
His dad and coach Justin Reid subject to a nervous wait from the sideline.
The gusts were just, and with the amount of collarbones he's had broken, we didn't want another one.
The gate was on a flat instead of a hill. Riders hitting the accelerator in a powerful surge in the race for pole position at the first turn.
In all his races he did that, except one race he clipped out coming out of the gate, so he was pretty much 4th, 5th position and ended up taking the win.
Reid cut out all distractions, taking out a series of wins in the time trials ahead of a clean sweep in the finals.
I was super nervous getting onto the gate because it was a pretty stacked final. There's a lot of faster riders in that age group, but I just had it from the gate.
Finally celebrating trophy wins in the 20 and 24-inch cruiser class ahead of the Australian titles in WA early next year. Liz Penny, PRIME7 News.
The Taree Biripi Sharks have just returned from the Koori Knockout League competition in Sydney, and for the first time the club entered a women's side in the Cup.
The Koori Knockout Cup has been running since the 1970s, and for more than 20 years the Taree Biripi Sharks have been competing. All those years the women of Taree cheered from the sidelines, but not this year.
We've always been supporting them, and our brothers, our fathers, our cousins, but to be the women that go out there and have a go themselves, it's just an honour to be part of.
About 20 female players travelled down, and in their first ever match they beat Maitland United 12-0. They were knocked out in the second game by the Redfern All Blacks, who went on to win the comp. But the Sharks manager says her team should be proud.
The hard hits that our Taree girls done and tackles, they felt it. As soon as the game was finished, they knew that our girls left an impression.
The men also won their first match against Yuri Monaro, but were knocked out in the second round by Tumala. It was the same story for the under-17s, who beat Kempsey first, but then went down in their second match to the Western Koori Eels.
The boys always put in a big effort. The knockout's not an easy campaign by no means. Any team that wins it thoroughly deserves it. It's you play 6 games to win the campaign. 58 men's, 15 under-17 and 32 women's teams competed in the competition, which promotes a healthy lifestyle and pride among the state's Indigenous players. Christine Tondorf, PRIME7 News.
Looks like it's remaining unsettled for now as the storm season ramps up. Carl will give us the latest weather outlook straight after the break. We'll see you soon. Now a more detailed look at the forecast is back to Carl.
And Carl, a bit unsettled for the next couple of days.
That's right, we're not drying out just yet. We've got some showers and storms likely to reform over the week as well, with northeasterly winds developing, and they're bringing a lot of moisture ahead of another trough. So you can see afternoon showers and storms around on Thursday in isolated form. Then they should ramp up ahead of a surface trough moving through the centre of the state on Friday into Saturday. Again in the afternoon on Sunday, they will be on the coastline, re-increasing early next week, so we've certainly got a spate of showers and storms right through the outlook period, which is good news. No drying out there that I can see. Certainly got some lovely temperatures to go with it as well. Plenty of rainfall too. 25 to 50 millimetres at this stage. I think we could see spot falls if you get a few storms day after day, over 100 millimetres. So we'll keep you posted on that as we move forward. In the south tomorrow, fine and partly cloudy. A bit of fog inland, temperatures around average. May see an afternoon shower in Taree, a little further inland, and still the chance of an isolated shower and thunderstorm around the tablelands through the afternoon. Generally 27 degrees inland. Northeast to southeasterly winds becoming variable through the afternoon in the north, and waves essentially around 1 metre. There's your sunrise to start your midweek, and then we'll have some showers developing up and down the coast. The chance of a thunderstorm inland yet again, and temperatures, well, around the humid 28 to 30 degree mark. That's a couple of degrees up on average, but certainly no complaints with the humidity. It means rainfall is certainly about. That'll continue into Friday, more concentrated in the south this time, and particularly inland. So for places like Gloucester, which has missed out from this last little bit of rainfall, will certainly get a good drink on Friday, I suspect. Falls locally up to 30 millimetres. So certainly a big shift, guys, in conditions, which is welcome, and more storms next week.
And do you think we could get severe storms with that?
Potentially on Friday, there's definitely a good chance of severe storms through the region.
All right, thanks for keeping us up to date, mate. See you soon.
And that's your local news for tonight. Thanks for your company. You can discuss tonight's stories on Facebook.
And catch tonight's top stories on our website. Thanks for joining us. Coming up, Prime 7 News at 6:30 with Daniel Gibson. See you tomorrow.